Good, happy Friday evening, March 13, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Friday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Friday evening, so let's begin. The first half of our newscast will be a lot about the coronavirus. So let's get started right now. First up, we have breaking news. Your first breaking news story. President Donald Trump declares a national emergency to open up money for fight against coronavirus. New Hampshire school districts announce closures, remote learning plans. School officials say they want to limit potential spread of COVID-19. Several New Hampshire school districts announced Friday that they are closing school for a week or more to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Officials in SAU 16 said schools in Exeter and the surrounding area will be closed until at least March 30th. Superintendent David Ryan said in a written statement that all school activities are also canceled and the district will evaluate whether school should stay closed longer. We believe it is our ethical responsibility to assist our local and state public health officials with their mission, Ryan said. Since we consider ourselves a suburb of Boston and a significant number of our parents travel each day by train to the metropolitan area, our community will most decidedly be affected soon by the virus, and we would prefer to have properly prepared for this epidemic instead of contributing to its exploitatorial activity. The Sanborn Regional School District will also be closed until at least March 30th, said Superintendent Thomas Ambrose. He said teachers and administrators are working on a plan to implement remote instruction. The Bedford School District will also close next week, officials said. School personnel will go to work Monday to prepare for remote learning, which is planned to begin on Tuesday. Bedford students are being asked to take home everything Friday they might need at home. Officials said discussion on whether to extend remote learning will be made on a weekly basis. The Nashua School District will also be closed for a week beginning Monday. As schools statewide consider whether to shut down to limit the spread of the coronavirus, the State Department of Education issued guidance for schools considering closing and setting up remote learning. The board passed an emergency rule Thursday allowing districts to conduct remote learning as they see fit. More school districts possibly will make similar changes moving forward, or they might have already. WMUR and the Riley King Network will update you on this story as more information comes into the newsroom. Manchester officials cancel city's St. Patrick's Day parade. Parade canceled over COVID-19 concerns. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
A man from...
If switching to Visible means you'll miss the mystery in your phone bill, we're sure there's a crime series you can catch up on. That's the mystery. Get phone service for just $40 a month for unlimited everything on Verizon's 4G LTE network. Visible, welcome to the future of phone service.
Buckingham County, who recently traveled to multiple countries in Europe, is the sixth person to test positive for the coronavirus in the Granite State. We're told he self-isolated when he returned and called his doctor when he started experiencing symptoms. Everyone in his household is also self-quarantining. And just minutes ago, we learned the spread of COVID-19 has impacted another major event. The Manchester St. Patrick's Day Parade, scheduled for Sunday, March 29th, has been canceled. Organizers say the cancellation is for the safety and well-being of spectators and participants. Again, though, the Manchester St. Patty's Day Parade canceled for this year.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Farmington schools closed. Officials clarify information about COVID-19. Other schools closed across New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
The New Hampshire Department of Corrections has immediate openings for corrections officers. Apply today.
We do start with breaking news about the coronavirus this noon as President Trump gets ready to hold a briefing this afternoon. More fallout in the sports world. The Boston Marathon is now officially pushed back. The marathon is the latest event to be changed or canceled. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sean McDonald. The announcement comes as the number of virus cases in the world climbs to more than 136,000, according to Johns Hopkins University. That map also shows more than 1,200 cases here in the U.S., and while 6 people have tested positive here in the Granite State, those numbers continue to fluctuate. But we're also getting word that a reported diagnosis in Farmington, which prompted schools to close today, has not been confirmed. Farmington officials say there is no exposure threat there at this time.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Recycle Percussion members self-quarantining after meeting NBA player. Band members posed photos with Utah Jazz star, who later tested positive for COVID-19. Let's take a listen to that video from WR News 9.
It's the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. The perfect time to get that awesome new Honda you've been dreaming of.
Some familiar faces from New Hampshire are now in self-quarantine after possible exposure to coronavirus. The band Recycle Percussion took this photo with Rudy Gobert on Monday. He is the Utah Jazz player who tested positive for COVID-19. The band is now quarantined at their property in Las Vegas with medical personnel coming to them.
There was definitely a feeling of what are the chances this could happen? And of course we have shows planned, Recycle Percussion has shows planned and touring, so I knew we'd have to cancel those.
Recycle Percussion is canceling upcoming shows there, saying they have a responsibility to stay away from anyone who may be vulnerable to the virus.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 coronavirus in New Hampshire, what you need to know. Health officials detail symptoms, how to prevent spread of virus. 6 Granite Staters have tested positive for coronavirus disease, COVID-19, which was first detected in Wuhan City, China. The number of positive COVID-19 tests, 6. CDC has confirmed 2 of them. The number of pending COVID-19 tests, 21. The number of negative COVID-19 tests, 94. Number of people Tested since mid-January, 121. Number of people being monitored, 275. On March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic. Let's talk about each patient in New Hampshire that have it. Here is a look at patient 1 right here. Patient 2. Patient 3. Patient 4. Patient 5. And patient 6. New Hampshire Emergency Operations Center now open. Symptoms, prevention, and what to do if you are sick. Insurance information and how testing works. And we will be sure to keep you updated with all of this COVID-19 coronavirus situation that is happening. And we're gonna talk about the situation happening in Massachusetts with the coronavirus. Coronavirus in Massachusetts, Friday, March 13th, update. New cases, 15. Total cases, 123. Linked to Biogene, 94. Daily Sunday Mass in Massachusetts, suspended. Boston Cathedral temporarily suspends all daily and Sunday masses and religious services in the Boston Archdiocese until further notice aimed coronavirus concerns. Also, the 2020 Boston Marathon postponed will take place on September 14th. Race being postponed aimed coronavirus over COVID-19. One more person presumed case of coronavirus diagnosed in Maine, health officials say. The case involves a man in his 50s. Let's take a listen to that video from WTW News 8 Maine.
Good afternoon, joining you here just after 1 o'clock with some breaking news on the coronavirus situation. There are now 3 presumptive positive cases of coronavirus in Maine. And right now, officials in Augusta are giving their latest update. We want to listen to that live and share that with you, so let's go to Augusta and hear what they're saying.
Dr. Nero Shaw, I'm the director of the Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Given some of the subject of what we'll be discussing today, we've also invited Dr. Dora Mills, the Chief Population Health Officer at Maine, Health Improvement Officer at Maine Health, to also answer questions today. I'd like to do 2 things. I'd like to first start by providing some additional updates on the presumptive positive case that we discussed yesterday. I'd also like to provide a little bit more information on one of the cases we issued a press release about this month. Let's first start with the individual that we reported as presumptively positive yesterday. Since that announcement, the team of epidemiologists at the Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention has made contact with this individual and had a series of discussions to determine where this individual has traveled, and what contacts she has had since returning to the United States. I'd like to first note that this individual has been a model citizen, and we commend her for her cooperation throughout this process. The individual recently returned from travel to Italy, and immediately upon re-entering the United States, as soon as this individual began feeling symptoms, ensured that she stayed indoors. We discussed with her the contacts that she had had. Fortunately, those contacts were minimal, and Maine CDC has reached out to all of them to discuss what levels and precautionary measures they need to take, if any. The individual continues to do well. She has not been hospitalized. We remain in contact with her, and one of our top priorities right now is to work with her to ensure her a speedy recovery. I'd also like to provide an update on one of the two cases that we released and discussed this morning. Maine CDC is able to now confirm or announce a second presumptive positive case of COVID-19 in the state of Maine. This is a male in his 50s who is a resident of Cumberland County. As with where we were 24 hours ago, our epidemiological investigation is already underway. When more information becomes known throughout the course of that investigation, we will update everyone immediately. I'd also like to provide a little bit of clarity on a few things. The first, once again, is to go over the terminology behind presumptive positive. As of right now, the United States Center for Disease Control requires all tests that are done that are returned as positive at the state level to be sent to Atlanta for confirmation. That's why we are reporting this second case, as well as yesterday's case, as presumptive positives. When the U.S. CDC laboratory in Atlanta confirms those, we will then change our reporting and report those as positive confirmed cases. I'd also like to provide a little bit more clarity on testing overall. Testing is done at the...
Okay, and if you want to watch the rest of that video, we will share a link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page after this broadcast. And we can also tell you we got breaking news not too long ago. Wells, Ogunquit School District closed through March 22nd, aimed coronavirus concerns. Again, the Wells, Ogunquit Community School District will be closed through March 22nd due to the coronavirus concerns. Americans rush home ahead of European travel ban. Let's take a listen to that video from Good Morning America, ABC News.
The seriousness of this pandemic felt around the globe. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife are self-isolating after Sophie Trudeau tested positive for the virus. France's Prime Minister calling this the most serious health crisis to hit his country in the past century. In Italy, the worst hit country outside of China, seeing deaths climb nearly 23% in just one day. Americans are scrambling to get out of Europe before the travel ban goes into effect. And Maggie Ruley has the story.
This morning, President Trump's European travel ban going into effect. The mad rush to escape is underway. Americans scrambling to get home as airlines like Delta and United reduce flights between major European cities and the U.S. Long lines filling airports overseas, like these in Barcelona. Some spending thousands of dollars to get out. This family paying nearly $8,000 for 3 one-way flights from Paris to New York.
I feel like they were putting a price tag on people's safety, and that's scary, especially for people who can't afford it.
A lot of people were in tears.
Our own Martha Raditz's son, rushing back from Switzerland, surprised by the lack of screening.
Just made it through customs. We were not tested, did not see anybody else being tested. We were asked if we had flu-like symptoms, but that was it. We were not specifically asked about Italy or any other country.
This as Europe reels from the global pandemic. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson sharing this stark warning.
Many more families are going to lose loved ones before their time.
While in France, President Macron calling this the most serious health crisis in a century.
Now, American Airlines has put a price cap on some of their flights, and other airlines like Delta and United have said they will continue a regular schedule through the weekend. But then, guys, they're going to drastically reduce the number of their flights between Europe and the U.S. Guys?
Yeah, we'll be watching that one. Okay, Maggie, thanks. Well, hey.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Friday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Friday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green, one up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green, one up. S&P 500 closed in the green, one up. Gold closed in the red, one down. Oil closed in the green, one up. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the red, one down. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Stocks post biggest rally since 2008, clawing back some of their coronavirus collapse. Stocks scored and soared Friday as Wall Street rebounded from the sharp losses suffered in the previous session, the worst since the Black Monday market crash in 1987. And we're following breaking news right now. Governor Chris Sununu is announcing state of an emergency. He is speaking right now, and we're gonna send you to that. You can find that speech on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. See you back here tomorrow with more news coverage. Bye.